Hi guys, just jiggery pokering, getting you straightened out. I hope everybody's well. I'm just checking in. I just whoa, earthquake. I've just been out and done the same ride as I did the other day. Only on the mountain bike instead of on the gravel bike. So I just checked the mountain bike over today. It was all pretty much ready to go. Hi Kevin, how you doing? Hi Snowman, how are you? So yeah, I was on the mountain bike today instead of the gravel bike, and I've done the same route as I did last time on the gravel bike, which is the last video. Kind of comparison. I'm going to be racing the mountain bike on the 26th, so I want to. Hi Alan, how you doing? How's your bird? So I wanted to try the mountain bike out, and I'm going to have to train on that now. I guess 50-50, the gravel bike and the mountain bike up until the 26th, to make sure that I am familiar with the mountain bike. The mountain bike is 22 years old. I used to race it. Yeah, hi Damo. Yeah, I think it's the time, isn't it? I think it's the time of day. I hope to catch a few more people tonight. It's pretty dark here now, and I got back just in time. It was just getting dark when I got back on the bike. So yeah, it's getting a bit cold as well. I kind of dressed for the warmth of the afternoon, and it started to get a bit cold. So I just got back in time, and I have had a very hot bath because my legs were killing me. So I'm sat down. I thought I would just do a little live feed because I'm sat down because I can't move. Basically. So I'm just trying to wait till my legs come back to life. I just walked up the steps, and that was not easy. So the difficulty I had on the mountain bike was that it is a more compact position than the gravel bike. Hi Mort, how you doing? How are you? Everything okay? How's the weather there? Minus, Damo, really? Jeez. I mean, it's not cold. It's relative, isn't it? It's not cold. It's just that I've got a sport top on, which is for 10 to 35 degrees C. So it like functions in that heat range. So it loses heat in that heat range, and of course as soon as it drops below that or gets close to that, it starts to feel a bit nippy because it's actually trying to get the heat out of you rather than keep the heat in. Raining, hey Mort, raining and cold. No, I wouldn't love it, absolutely not. Hi Fritz, how you doing? How are you? I wouldn't enjoy that more at all, I'm afraid. It's been a really nice afternoon. Well, this week's been fabulous, and I've got a video to upload. Just to ask you guys, I filmed the whole ride today, from when I started to the end, literally the whole thing. Hold on, I'll just have a quick look on Strava here. It is... Sorry. So it was 1 hour and 20 minutes, the ride. Would you like to see the whole ride? I mean, I'm not going to put it up as 1 hour and 20 minutes, but like I'll put it up in 3 20-minute sections or something like that. Would you like to see the whole ride, or would you rather just see the highlights? I don't want to bore people with it. Most people seem to enjoy seeing it. Obviously, if I put the whole ride up, you'll see me struggling because you know, on the hills. Yeah, I'll do the training and you watch more. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's good arrangement. Why not? So if you want to see it, just say in the comments here, just say if you want to see the whole thing, and I'll break it down into like part 1, 2 and 3, and then you can see the whole thing. because otherwise I just like pick out highlights of it and do a 20-minute video with the highlights. Okay, Fritz, I will. I'll do 3 20-minute or 22-minute, whatever it is, films, and then you can see it. Because there are some mean old climbs on there, and you'll hear me puffing. Yeah, you can make sure I'm not cheating. Yeah, that's true actually. You'll see, Damo, you'll see I went a different way when I get to the village of Alavena. On the other couple of rides I've done on the gravel bike, because I knew I couldn't pedal up and around the corner into the village and then get on the road that I wanted to get onto, the one where we got stuck behind the goats when I was with Ben, I deliberately went up the shorter way, which is much, much steeper, but you have to walk. So I went up the really steep where it's concrete and then it's steps at the top and you have to walk up the steps at the top. But today I rode on the mountain bike, I rode round the loop and got up onto the top track. So I did go a slightly different way. I don't think there's much in it, to be honest. Do I feel better, Mort? Good question. The reality, I'm using Strava. I don't know whether people are familiar with Strava, but Strava's like an app which basically downloads your ride. So it records your ride and it records everything about your ride. If you look in the comment, in the little description of the videos, last few videos, I've put the Strava reference for each ride. So if you click on that, you'll go to the Strava page. It's all free. And it shows you everything about the ride. It shows you the route, it shows you the elevation changes, the climbing, it shows you my effort, my wattage that I put out as I ride around. So, more, do I feel better? Yes, I do. The problem I've got, and I think I mentioned it in the last video, and the figures don't lie. I've got Strava on the screen here. Let me hold on. Let me just I'll show you. So this is Strava. So that's basically showing the route. It's showing everything about it. So you've got the up here. You've got the distance, how long it took, the elevation changed, 455 meters climbed, my estimated wattage, which is 134 watts, average output, my energy output. And it tells my average heart rate, my maximum heart rate, how many calories I burn, etc. It's literally everything. And then down here you've got the route, and you can click into the route. So you can do this. You can't do it with this one because this isn't uploaded yet. But on the other videos I've put up, you can just click on that link I put in the description of the video, and you can go to the page for the ride. And today you can see here Life-Shawshank is a climb, which is just an individual climb, and so you get timed on that climb as you do it. It's all GPS, so it's all, you can't lie, it's GPS. So it gives my average speed, my maximum speed, my heart rate, average and maximum, estimated power output, and today I actually did my 3rd fastest time on the mountain bike, and that was really surprising. I thought it was going to be I thought it was going to be fastest. I thought it was going to be my fastest time. But today was my 3rd fastest time compared to the other 2 times I've posted on the gravel bike. So, I know I'm on, but facts don't lie. It's okay saying, oh, I feel like this or I feel like that. But the problem more is that my aerobic fitness is getting better much, much quicker than my physical fitness, so my legs. So my breathing, my heart rate's coming down, and I want to stay between 161 and 180 beats per minute when I'm riding all the time. And it's dropping below 160. I'm at about 159, 158. So I should be trying harder, but I can't because my legs won't take it. My legs just physically won't take it. They just lock up with lactic acid. So if I go into the analysis here, I'm probably boring everybody to death here. But in the analysis, you can all go and have a look. It's all public info. That bottom one is my heart rate. Yeah, if you download the app, you can remote control my yeah. I mean, you might be able to give me some kind of electric shock or something. You could perhaps give me a shock, like to make me go faster. So you'll see here, my heart rate, my maximum is 176. That's fine, but my average is only 155, and I want my average to be more than 160. So my aerobic fitness is getting better. My legs aren't keeping up. Damo, I don't think much. I mean that gravel bike has got 30mm tyres on, and I haven't got big aggressive mountain bike tyres on my mountain bike. I've got like semi road tyres. They're like smooth in the middle, and they've got like knobbles on the outside, but not much. I don't think so. It didn't feel like it particularly. It didn't feel like I was having to honk the bike along in comparison to the gravel bike. I think there's a difference. The mountain bike's got 26-inch wheels, and the gravel bike has got 700C wheels, and they're bigger wheels. So there's automatically a difference in the way it rides. It does feel different in the way it rides. The mountain bike feels more punchy, and the gravel bike feels more smoother. And you're much more stretched out on the gravel bike. Your body position is much more stretched out. So, Damo, I think there is a difference. And I think the difference on the climb was on the... Is my goal for fitness, Kevin? Can I just answer Damo's thing? I think on the climb... I think with a gravel bike, you can come whacking into it. You can go fast on the road coming into it. So you've got like a start, and you come up into the climb, and then you put your effort in. Where the mountain bike, you don't feel like that when you're coming towards it. You're sort of having to drive it towards the climb. So maybe that was the difference. I don't know. I mean, we're only talking seconds. I don't know what it is. Yeah, pull it up here, but. We're only talking seconds anyway. Kevin, is my goal fitness? No, my goal is to race. I am racing on the 26th of this month, which is too soon, but I want to go and see how I am against other people. And the only way you find that out is to go and race against people and find out if you come last. So I'm going to race in a mountain bike race, which is about 30 kilometres long. It's basically like a figure of 8. And it's in a village called Rio Gordo, which is up in the mountains. So it's at altitude, which won't help. Thanks, Kevin. Cheers. And it's 30 kilometres, but like at about kilometre 28.5, it just goes into this. It's gonna be miserable. It's like, like the last 1.5 kilometres, 2 kilometres is just this horrible climb. Obviously, you come down the other side, but by the time you get up to the top of it, I don't know more how many riders there are, because I've pre-inscribed for it and paid my entry fee, and at the moment there's only like 10 people done that. But it's the 26th, and it's only the week before that it gets more expensive. Excuse me. So I guess, where are we, 26th? Yeah, around the 19th, 18th, 19th, it gets more expensive. So I suppose people are enter then, but just before it gets more expensive. So, like usual, everybody puts it off to the last minute and then pays their money. So, hi Evo, how you doing? Damo, MTM, are you going to enter? I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you mean, MTM. Do you mean like what class or Oh, sorry, are you asking if Mort's going to enter? Yeah, Mort's coming on an electric bike with a chainsaw engine in it. He's coming with what's that massive Husqvarna you've got, Mort? That massive great thing, 3 whatever it is, huge thing. 3120 or something. You can put the engine out of that in it. That'll pull you up the hills. I tell you what, boys, you need a big motor to pull Mort up the hill. He's a big old boy. Yeah, 3120. Yeah, you just need the engine out of that in it, don't you? Sorry, Damo, I didn't understand what you were saying. I'm in the Masters 50 class. It appears that everybody's called a master. So there's a master's 30, master's 40, and a master's 50. Maybe there's a whippersnappers class, I don't know. So, how do I think Bucking will do on a bike? Don't ask. It's not a question that we want to answer, I don't think. Bucking's body functions in a different way after his accident, I think. So, I think he does very well to do what he does, old Bucking. He, you know, I'm quite surprised. I had a reasonable, let's say, reasonably sized. Thanks, Mort. Yeah, there's two things about me. I'm determined and I know how to suffer. So I make up for a lot of lack of fitness by just putting up with it and putting myself through it a bit. So I do get away with a bit of giving away a bit of fitness to other people. Anyway, I was just saying, I had a reasonable sized motorbike accident in the desert in Morocco a few years ago. Evo, yeah, it is. I'll come back on that point, Evo, in a minute, if you don't mind. And I split the quad muscle on my left leg from my knee to my hip. I split it open down to the bone. It was an impact injury on a rock. So I came off a motorbike at high speed and I hit a rock, and my whole muscle from my knee to my hip just exploded. It didn't cut, or it just like blew open because of the impact. And so they had to stitch it back together from the inside all the way out. So it took 80 stitches. They had to put like rows of 20 in, so 20, 20, 20. And then they left the outside open for a little while to let everything come out, and then they sealed it up with 20 on the outside. So I was worried coming back into mountain biking that muscle would be weak, having had that accident, and it's healed up. It's all healed up. It's just there's a bit of a line down my leg where it happened, but I thought I might be lacking. Yeah, I don't know, Evo. I've never had any. I don't know what you'd have to have for that. Some kind of. I don't think an X-ray would do it. You'd have to one of those. Is it MRIs or something like that? I don't know. I guess there is like a seam. There must be a seam of scar tissue. I mean, he's pretty good. The guy that did it. He stitched it all up and he pulled it all together, all the way from the bone all the way out. And I think that healed quite well. But obviously there is scar tissue on the top. I don't know. Maybe there is, but I don't feel it, and I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased because I thought I was going to get like a tight spot in my. And it might come. I mean, obviously, I'm only just started, and my muscles are only just getting going. So, it might come that I do start to feel something, but at the moment, it's fine. Back to Evo, mind over matter. I'd like to say that today, and you'll see when I put the video up, I wasn't feeling brilliant when I went out. I did my 4K warm-up and got to the point where I start my ride. And I wasn't feeling amazing. Don't jinx yourself, yeah. Yeah, I don't need any more problems than I've already got. I rode out to start my ride and my legs just didn't feel very good. But what it turned out to be was the different position on the mountain bike. So it turned out to be that. But I arrived at the start of the ride, definitely not feeling like doing the ride. And part of what made me do the ride was you guys, because I thought, oh, hang on a minute, you said to the guys that you're going to go out and ride every day, and not every day, sorry, every other day, and you're going to do this race, and you're going to get on, and if you don't ride today, it's not going to help anything. It's not going to help going home. It's not going to help anything, So even if you just end up pootling round, just get on with it and go. So one of the reasons I went today, because I got halfway up the. Yeah, worried I peaked already. Yeah, exactly. I had my finest moment already. I got halfway up that nasty climb, and I thought to myself, yeah, do I really want to do this today? My legs was like screaming, and I was puffing and panting, but that's normal. And as you saw from my figures, there's no problem with that. Aerobically, it's no problem. But my legs were screaming. And I thought, do I want to do this? And I thought, yeah, I do want to do this. You know, guys want to see how we're getting on and make some progress. So one of the, it did push me along today. So it does help having all you guys follow along and be interested in it, because, you're out there on your own. And it, in parts, yes, you'll see from this one, if I do 3 20-minute. Yeah, the trouble is more, you need somebody who is at the same level as you and is going to train in the same way as you. I think I've touched on it a few times before. Not everybody trains on a heart monitor, so they're not monitoring their fitness in that way. So they'll just blast off. They get to a climb and they'll just blast off, and they don't care that they're going to like 220 beats per minute or whatever, because it's just great they got over the top of the climb first. Yeah, thanks, Damo. Yeah. So they'll ultimately, that type of riding, yeah, Evo, exactly. So you get into this situation where you start racing each other, or you start pushing each other up climbs or whatever. It's actually counterproductive because your body's not ready for it. And if you start going over that limit, I mean, when I race, I will set a limit of 220 beats per minute, not 180. So I'll allow myself another margin, and 220 is my maximum. I don't want to be like going over, I'll have a heart attack if I go over that. So I will go to 220 in the race. So somebody did ask me, I can't remember who it was, so I apologise for that, but somebody asked me in a previous chat what I would do in the race. Was I just going to ride round, or was I going to give it a go? And I will give it a go to 220 beats per minute, but I am not going over that. If my watch starts banging me on the wrist telling me I'm at 220, I'm going to back off. So I'm prepared to do that, but I'm not prepared to go more. But the trouble is more, you get into that scenario where you start having a go at each other, and that's fine when your fitness is great. I mean, when I used to race a lot, we used to go out in a group like 3-4 times a week and give it large, and give it everything you got, and try and beat your mates and try and psychologically knock people down. But I'm not at that, I'm not there yet. So I could quite easily harm my training by doing that sort of thing. So someone did say to me the other day about Ben, who I ran into on the previous video, like, was I going to ride with him all the time and that now? And I'd love to go riding with Ben, and I will, and we'll go out and have some rides, and we'll probably, perhaps this Sunday, we'll go out and have some rides, and I'll take you guys along. He knows some great routes all out. But I don't, at the moment, I don't want to train with anyone. I just want to do it, for myself, and then I'm getting a greater understanding of myself, because it's basically 20 years since I raced a mountain bike. And things have changed. I'm not I'm no longer 31 years old. Do the dogs get to run along? I tell you what, Kevin, that would be chaos. That would be absolute chaos. When we take them out, well, I take them out at the moment, we've got them on those like elastic those leads, those retracting leads that go out and come back. And they like cross over each other and go in different directions and go around trees and God knows what. So when you're walking, it's you can kind of pull it all back together. But having said that, when I used to train for mountain bike racing, my brother had a dog called Benji, and it was a cross dog, like a collie and something else. And that dog could run all day. That could keep up with you all day. And I used to train 45, 50 miles. And that dog would come with me, and it would run the whole time, keeping up, and it wouldn't ever go more than like 3 meters away from you, and it would just run. So yeah, I've done it before, but this lot, forget it. You'd end up kill yourself. You wouldn't go very far either. It'd be all right if you could actually like make them pull you along like a sled or something, but apart from that. Yeah, Evo, I think, you need to know what they're going to get up to, do you? And you'll see on this video, and I think it's probably on the other videos, but you have to like run the gauntlet anyway. There's a little area, there's a little hamlet just over the back of the farm here on the road, and there's about 5 little dogs, tiny little dogs, but I mean, of course, they're the fiercest things on earth, and they come at you, you know. So you've got like you've got to save a bit of energy just to get away from them, the little ankle biters. So yeah, you've got to be a bit careful, but yeah, I don't think having the dogs along would be a great idea. Anyway, you'll see those little dogs, Evo, on the video. I'll do it later. I'll upload it later. So guys, I'll do 3. It's an hour, and I think the ride's an hour and 20 minutes. So I'll do 3 videos, and then you can have a look at whatever you want to have a look at, but don't have a look at any of it if you don't want to. But then you'll actually see the pain and suffering involved. Because I got up a couple of climbs. Hi PB, how you doing? How are you? I got up a couple of climbs on the mountain bike that I can't get up on the gravel bike, just the lower gearing, because you've got 3 rings on the front rather than just 2 rings on the front. So I did manage to get up a couple of climbs that I can't get up on the, well, currently can't get up on the gravel bike because I'm a wuss. But I will get up on the gravel bike. I shall go. I don't know if you guys, I don't know, if you're into cycling. Yeah, I'm fine, thanks PB. I've been out this afternoon, I can't walk, so that's why I'm doing a live feed, because I've got to sit down. I can't actually move. I used to watch track cycling on the telly, and there was a guy called Huber, a German guy called Huber, and he used to do the Kirin races as well in Japan. He like animal, animal, massive. His legs were like my waist at the time. I can't remember they were like 30 inches or 32 inches or something. And he could just push this gear like you wouldn't believe, like the biggest gear. It's unbelievable. It looked like the bike was going to snap. And that's what you want, isn't it? Power, ultimately. And I'm way off that. I mean, I'm putting out, I think I'm putting out about 140, 150 watts. And a decent rider should really put out about 250, 240, 250. So I'm like 100 off in terms of wattage, in terms of power. And that's just down to muscle power. And when I was racing, I used to go to the gym to do weights, like leg weights, leg pressing. Hi David, how are you? How's England? I used to do leg pressing and all sorts of stuff in the gym as well, to build strength, and I had a very good gym guy who used to help me a lot, but I'm not prepared to do that now at 50 years old, 51 years old. I mean, I'm going down the gym, ain't gonna happen. So I have to do it slowly. I have got a friend of mine, Tom Cook. You can do anything, Tim. Well, most things, not everything more. Yeah. I mean, I'm enjoying it. Thanks, guys. PB and Damo. Yeah. I'm enjoying it at 51. It feels good, and I'm enjoying doing it. And it feels like today was after I got over the initial pain. Being back on that mountain bike was like it took me back like 20 years. When I was riding it and racing it, and it felt the same. It felt lovely. Felt really good. Yeah, PB, I know what you mean. It did feel really, really good. It felt nice to be on it again, and it's a good bike, I mean, it was a lot of money when I had it, and I've got another one as well. Same one. 2 of them. Used to train on one and race on the other. And I mean, even now, I can't see all those bikes. I took you through that exhibition at the Rock d'Azur with all those new bikes, like unbelievable money, really unbelievable money. And how much faster can it go? It can't. Yeah, all right, it's got an electric motor in it, but you've got to pedal it, haven't you? You've got to pedal it. So if it doesn't weigh much and everything works really well, but how much better can they be? I don't know. It's just marketing, isn't it? There was a really funny video on Facebook the other day about all the changes that there had been, like wheel sizes and bottom bracket widths and all this, and calling it this and calling it that and all the rest of it. And ultimately, I don't know. I mean, I tell you what was really different today. What was really interesting was the difference between having disc brakes and having caliper brakes that are on the rim, and the different feeling of that is quite astonishing. And the reason for that is that when you put the brake on the disc brake, you're braking the hub. You know, you're braking the centre of the wheel, so you're actually braking the momentum at the hub. Whereas with the caliper brakes, you're braking on the rim, which is, you know, the very outside of the wheel, right by the tyre. It's a very different feeling, and the disc brakes feel so much more progressive. They feel so much more progressive. They feel like you're really controlling the bike, and you're controlling almost like you're controlling the gyroscopic effect of the bike by just braking the hub. Whereas with the rim, it kind of feels a bit desperate. It's like, even as much as you feather them or are gentle with the brakes, it just feels like a bit last minute, you know, like they're coming on and it's all a bit last minute. Whereas the discs just have a different feeling. That was interesting, and so of course that's changed. Yeah, David, I think you're right. I think that's changed things a lot, having disc brakes, and of course they're up out of the mud, so it doesn't matter what you ride through, you still got your brake up. Well, unless you're up to your knees, but you've still got your brakes afterwards. Whereas with your rims, you know, it depends what you ride through, and also ultimately if you're riding a lot of sandy stuff and dusty stuff, which is quite sandy and dusty here, you wear your rims out. Thanks, PB. I'm pleased people are enjoying them. I mean, I don't, you know, if you guys don't want to see them, just say. I'm putting them up, and everybody says, "Oh, that's, you know, it's nice to see the views and see the riding and all the rest of it." It never has been, and it never will be my intention that this channel is about riding bicycles. Yeah, Damo needs brakes. Yeah, exactly. I've needed them a couple of times in the last few weeks. I've never... but more, why did you say that? I'm scary. Was it my appearance? Yeah, the last... What was I going to say? Yeah, it's not my intention to make this into a cycling channel. It's just that at the moment that's what I'm doing. So I think since the beginning, when I started the channel... when there was nobody, and then I just was putting videos up because I felt like it, and then Al came along, and John, the Swede, came along, and started watching them, and I thought, well, someone's interested in what I was doing, and Al actually helped me a lot with cutting down some cedar trees, because we were doing it. Hi Ted, how you doing? How are you? We were doing it with the machine. I've still got some more of it to do, and it was working, but only up to a point, and he had a really good suggestion and helped me out. So, you know, the channel's just about what I'm getting up to. Yeah, so yeah, exactly, Damo, yeah. As you get older, you do tend to reach for the brakes a little bit more than you used to. I don't know whether I used to touch them much. Well, I can't have, because the pads that are in the brakes, I don't think I ever changed them when I was racing, and now I need a new set since I've only ridden it a few times. So yeah, there's a story there, isn't there? Just stay off them, keep off the brakes. But yeah, the bike's going great, and I'm enjoying it, and it's good fun, and I hope everyone else is enjoying it as well. And if they are, that's good. But you know, it's not. I did video some other stuff this morning because I've been working here at the farm, so not that, yeah, quite fast, David, not that fast. You've been in London, PB? Yeah, nasty business. How's the weather in London? Is it clear or is it wet there? Miserable in London when it's wet. Hey, the farm's doing great. Kind of at a stage now here, everybody's picking olives. Hi Daniel, how you doing? Dry. Well, at least that's all right. I mean, I hate it when it's wet in London. It's dirty, isn't it? When it's wet, it's just dirty there. Everyone's at the same stage. Everyone's picking on olives. Massive crop of olives this year here. It's really, every tree is laden with massive olives. So it's going to be a great year for olives. Very unpredictable olives. You just don't know, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's not because you have rain or don't have rain, or rainy day in California. Sorry to hear that. It doesn't rain very often in California, does it? Have I been to California? Don't think I have. Where's Miami? Sorry to be so ignorant. That's not in California, is it? I've been to Miami on my way to Colombia. Yeah, Damo, that's right. Rain in California, that's a lie, yeah. It always looks nice on the adverts, California, when Arnold Schwarzenegger was selling it. Florida. Okay, sorry. Idiot. Yeah, of course it's in Florida. Yeah, I went to Miami on the way to Colombia. We're getting ready for a fat bike session. Are you? Have you got a fat bike, Ted? I don't know. Not sure. What they like to... Have you got one? What they like to ride, fat bikes? I mean, I sort of like the idea of it. I saw quite a few at that show, at the rock show. Lots of snow. Ah, so you're riding them on the snow, Ted. I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it? That makes sense. You know, riding them on the snow or riding them on sand or something like that where you need, like, floaty tyres. That makes sense completely. Otherwise, I'm not sure. I'm sure they're great fun, but they look like there's quite a lot of it to cycle, to pedal. I'm more like minimal. Give me the least possible. Fat bikes for snow, get pedal assist. Yeah, that's right. So sorry. Back to the farm. Getting diverted. So everyone's doing the olives at the moment. Everything's ripening, and the oranges, mandarins, avocados are always ready about the same time. So they're ready December-ish, December, January. Normally for Christmas we pick the mandarins straight off the tree because they're ready Christmas. So you go out and pick some straight off the tree for Christmas time. Pecan nuts in this area. Lots of people grow pecan nuts down by the river. They're picking at the moment. Almonds should have already been picked. So yeah, it's kind of a time when you're at the end of what you've done all year, in terms of just waiting, really. Things sort of slow down in terms of work because you're just waiting now for the final ripening of everything. Avocados don't ripen on the tree. Shelling corn. Shelling corn that's interesting, Kevin. That's a different thing, isn't it? Corn. Do you grow a lot of corn there? Yeah, the avocados don't ripen on the tree. They just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So avocado farmers gamble with getting more production off the tree in terms of kilos because the avocados get bigger and bigger. But they will not put up with any kind of cold wind or any... well, we don't get frost, but they wouldn't put up with any frost for sure. But cold wind burns them. 700 acres of corn, that's a lot of corn. And do you have all your own machinery, Kevin, or do you contract people in, like for combines and all that kind of thing? It's like a combine, isn't it? It's not quite the same, I don't think, that cuts the corn. Similar sort of thing. Not quite the same, I don't think, as a combine harvester. Or is it exactly the same? Sorry to be ignorant. So the avocados get bigger and bigger, but if you get a cold wind, it burns them, and you lose the lot, you lose everything, and you lose the tree for a year because you have to cut it all the way back, and then you have to let it grow, and so you lose next year's production, but you'll get production the year after. You have a 12-row combine harvester. That's a big combine harvester. You're not making gas with it. They what about I guess in the US it's not an issue, is it? Rapeseed, but they make rapeseed oil. That's become a thing, hasn't it? In Europe, that's become a thing, to make rapeseed oil for biofuel. It's become a crop. I don't know. I don't follow it. I don't know how successful it is. Some does go for gas, Kevin, does it? That's interesting. It's so interesting, isn't it? Different people on YouTube in general, just information. I love information, and it's very interesting to hear from people who live in different places around the world and do different things, isn't it? Because you see stuff on, you watch a documentary about, whatever, Wisconsin or Texas or Miami or whatever, and you think, you want to ask somebody a question, don't you? I want to ask a question about that, and you can't. It's interesting, isn't it? So it's very interesting, Kevin. Thanks. It's nice to hear what other people are up to. It's always interesting with Bobinski, isn't it, on Buckin's channel, because he's always doing stuff, isn't he, on his farm. He's in Sevenoaks. So, it's interesting. So, yeah, what happens is you gamble with the avocados, you let them get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you make a decision to pick them before you get any cold wind and you lose them. And then they are picked and they start to ripen once they've been picked. And they take takes about 5 days for them to ripen properly. What the Dutch do, the Dutch buy a lot of avocados. They take them immediately to warehouses that are charged with carbon dioxide, and that stops them ripening. And they can keep avocados in those sealed rooms, which are like chambers, for 2 years and stop them ripening. So when you go to the supermarket and buy your avocados out of season, they are potentially 2 years old because they have been kept in carbon dioxide to stop them ripening. There you go. Another useless fact from Shankers. So yeah, avocados are funny. Yeah, I know. It's not detrimental. I don't think it's detrimental, Ted. It's just, if you stop the process, so if they're picked and they go straight into carbon dioxide and you stop the process of ripening, they're just like you'd freeze a human being to hopefully bring them back to life in the future when technology changes. Same idea, I guess. Cryogenics, isn't it? Isn't that what they call it? Something like that. Can't even spell it. Twinkies are older. Yeah, Damo. We don't really get Twinkies here. It's funny because I got some American buddies from Salt Lake City, and they came over to Morocco. Actually, I was going to tell you about Tom Cook. I will get to that. They came over and they brought all that stuff with them, like Twinkies and stuff. Wife's in the freezer, people. Yeah. What you hoping for? It doesn't bear thinking about, does it? What you're waiting for? Yeah. Wife's in the freezer. Like it. They stopped making them at one time, did they? Did they really? Twinkies. Why was that? Because they were they fell out of fashion or something, or declared unfit for human consumption. Peace and quiet, yeah, I know what you mean. My wife's having a terrible time at work at the moment. Awful, poor girl. Anyway, I won't go into that. Staff. What was I going to say? I was going to say something about something. Oh, Tom Cook. Tom Cook's a friend of mine. He's in Salt Lake City, and he has a cycling team called the X-Men, which I think is very funny. So they're called the X-Men, and they probably had a surplus. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, they probably wanted to push the price up. They probably just locked them all away for a period of time, make them more valuable, as they do with most commodities. There's obviously a Twinkie mafia that are controlling the market. Yeah, it's very funny actually, Damo. Sort of stupid thing I find amusing. Yeah, he's got a cycling team called the X-Men, and it says something else on the shorts, like Storm Riders or something. I can't remember, because one of them's called Storm, is she, lady that makes a lot of storms. And I shall be racing in X-Men cycling kit when I race on the 26th, because it's being sent over at the moment from America. So I shall be wearing the X-Men kit. So I've joined the team, and as he told me today when he sent me a message this afternoon, which I've yet to reply to, that it's like the Eagles song Hotel California. You can join the X-Men, but you can never leave. So I'm in it. I'm in now. It's done. Yeah, thanks, PB. I'll need it, and I'll bring you all along, you guys. The race is a figure of 8, and I shall have the GoPro on my... Kevin, that's quite a big ask. Winning. Hey, Joe, how you doing? How are you? You got a new fat bike? Brilliant. That'll be nice for the snow. We were just talking about fat bikes, actually, just now. Yeah, great, Joe. Nice. I hope you get out on that and get to enjoy it. Yeah, winning is a tall order. I shall do my very best for you, and I will do my very best. But winning is questionable. But yeah, figure of 8. So I will have the GoPro either on my helmet, or I'll probably have it on my helmet like we did with Jono, because that seemed to work pretty well. Because then you kind of see where you're looking rather than where the bike's just pointing all the time. And my wife will film as I come through on the figure of 8. She'll be in the village filming as I come through. It's quite a setup. I've been reading about it on their website and everything, and you can go up there and have breakfast, or I don't know what that would consist of, just before a mountain bike race, but a couple of bananas or something, I suppose. So you know, from 8 o'clock you can have breakfast. They've got showers there. They've got all facilities for it. It's only a 30k race, so it's only going to take a couple of hours. Well, it might take me a bit more. Yeah, Joe's Neon, we full English Evo, yes. But with Bush's sausages, black pudding, and everything, just to weigh yourself down. I mean, this afternoon I made the mistake of I was very hungry at lunchtime, and I had a couple of ham sandwiches, and I could certainly feel that this afternoon. It's definitely better to go at 11 o'clock rather than go at 4 o'clock when you've had a couple of ham sandwiches. Doesn't aid your pedalling ability, I can tell you that. But yeah, fried bread. Yeah, I mean, you can kill yourself, can't you, with that stuff? I mean, it's great, isn't it? Fried breakfast, perfect. But I just doesn't do much for you, I don't think. Ultimately. But yeah, you have a breakfast up there. There's showers. There's all the stuff. They've made quite an event of it. It is part of there's an Andalusia, because we're in Malaga province here, which is a small part of excuse me, Malaga province, and that's a part of Andalusia, which is the main province in Spain. So we're in Andalusia, and there's an Andalusian cycling federation, and this is one of their sanctioned races. So there's a number of those races throughout the year. This might be the last one, actually. Pizza Demo, yeah. It probably is pizza up there, actually. Yeah, it'd be good, Joe, to see you go out on the fat bikes. That would be really good. I'd really enjoy that if you don't mind doing it. It'd be really good fun. Even if you just go out and have a little ride around, it'd be great. Lovely to see the scenery there as well with the snow. That would be really nice. So I hope you get time to do that, Joe. And perhaps we can have a little ride along with you. So yeah, that's going to be interesting anyway. It'll be interesting, and we'll see how we stack up against everybody. So what have we got now? It's like 18 or 17 days or something, and I'm going out every other day. So let's say 9 rides till the race. So just keep plugging away. And my aim is it's the 26th, David. It's Sunday the 26th. So it's however many days away it is. I've got a calendar here. Where are we? 9. So it's 3 days. 3, 10, 17. Yeah, 17 days. There is a race on the Saturday as well. A little race. And I looked at that. I was going to go and maybe do that as well. but it's kind of this tiny loop thing that you just go round and round and round. They call them criteriums in the UK. I don't know what they call them elsewhere. You just go like do multiple loops of a very small circuit. It's not really going to do much for me. Get some like 15-year-old kid on his BMX flying around it, I expect. I'm very much a long gamer. I get better as it goes on, so it takes me about 15 kilometres just to get going. So I shan't be yes, exactly, Evo. You might as well, mightn't you? You might as well just be on a turbo trainer and see who finishes first. Line yourselves up and see who does 10 kilometres the quickest. I'm not really interested in doing that. I was going to go and do it because it intrigued me, because the club's called the Churiana Pirates or something. I thought that sounds interesting, but yeah, I think we'll give that one a miss. So Lisa and I will head up there quite early in the morning, and Rio Gordo is high enough that it's cold. It's actually cold up there. It's in the Malaga Montes, the mountains of Malaga, and there'll probably be a frost. I would imagine there will be a frost at that time. The race starts at 10. So we'll get up there about 8ish or 8, half 8 or something. It just depends how quickly I can get my wife moving on the Sunday morning. And a couple of her friends are coming as well, I think. So yeah, it will be good. And like I say, I'll do my best. That's all you can do, isn't it? Do your best, and see how we get on. Team Shankers. So we're Team Shankers X-Men is what we're going to be, and if I have time, the gear's coming over from the US, and I'll have to check the tracking later because I've got it all coming. But if I get time, I'll get there. There's a really good shop in. Thanks, PB. There's a really good shop in Coeen, and I'll try and get them to put Shankers on it. What food do I eat for the race? I've always kind of loaded up before, Kevin. So I'll start the evening before, and I'll start loading up with carbohydrate. And I used to make all my own energy drink. I used to do all kinds of stuff. For this type of thing, yeah, take a couple of bacon sandwiches. Yeah, that'll be good. I mean, if you could all come over and stand around and have a few. Well, perhaps what we could do is we could get a few axe handles off bucking, and then you could stand around the track and just chuck them in people's spokes as they go by. So that would work. That would certainly help. Anyway, if we could nobble half the field, that would certainly increase my chances. That's for sure. Yeah, so we could do some obviously non-branded. We don't want any like Bucking Billy Ray branded product going into anybody's spokes. Otherwise, there might be a lawsuit. But if he's got any of those, what they called unbreakables or whatever he calls them, with the yellow paint on them, they might do. We could see whether they really are unbreakable, couldn't we? Got someone honking down the hill, we can chuck it in their front wheel. See what breaks first, the bike, the handle, or the person riding it. The person riding it, probably. So, yeah, we'll do our best. I'll try and get Shankers put on the riding gear. If there's time, so that'll be quite funny. Team Shankers, and we'll see. Hopefully, it's going to go okay. I was a little bit disappointed today when I got on the mountain bike, and it didn't. My legs didn't feel that good, but it turned out to be the different sort of position. So that actually, by sort of 10 kilometres, that went away, and I actually felt okay. So. And it was really nice. Having the lower gearing, it was really nice to be able to spin, really quick. Because at the moment I can't spin fast because my legs won't drive that bigger gear on the gravel bike. It won't drive it that quick. So I'm always pushing at a slower cadence. So it was really nice to have a faster cadence today, which felt good. And I need to do that because my legs are predisposed to going slower for a longer distance. You got the same componentry as me, have you, Joe? Thanks, PB. Yeah, good. Hello, Dickard. How you doing? How are you? Everything all right? How's the wood carving business? How's the weather there, Dickard? Last time we had a chat, you were suffering. Freezing? Really? Is it? Terrible. Like really cold. I know Bucking's had about 10 layers on, hasn't he, for a couple of weeks. Hello, Mark. How you doing? Yeah, the bike's great, Mark. The gravel bike we're talking about. It's rocket stove chooching. Well, good job you got that, Dave, isn't it? The gravel bike is so stable because of the relaxed angles on it, because it's halfway between a road bike and a cyclocross bike. So it's really stable. Really nice to ride. Feels really responsive. Very, very light. So I'm really enjoying riding it. I really am, and I'm so pleased I bought it. I don't know if you ever have it when you kind of. I didn't really know about gravel bikes until I went to the race where Jono raced in France, and sometimes you see something, and you think, yeah, that just makes sense to me. That just answers a question for me, because I can't have a road bike. I can have a road bike, but I'd have to push it or drive the car down off the farm and get on the road and ride it. Because if I tried to ride it off the farm, I'd just destroy it, So I needed to have something that I could ride on the road if I wanted to. If I wanted to go out and have a ride on the road, I could do so. But I needed something that I could ride off-road as well. And when I saw those gravel bikes, I thought, well, it's just the answer. It's just it, isn't it? And I was going to buy a smaller frame. Exactly, Evo. It is the best of both worlds. I was going to buy a smaller frame, and even Ridley, the company that make it, for my height, they recommend a smaller frame. But they're very much from the cyclocross world, where you have a smaller frame for different reasons, and one of them is that they shoulder the bikes a lot. It's a perfect bike, Mark, for where I live. They shoulder the bikes a lot, so they jump off and on to the bikes and run up steps and jump over logs and do all sorts of things. So they have a smaller frame because they're on and off the bike a lot, so they need a lot more clearance around them when they're getting on and off. I don't need that, and as a gravel bike, you're not leaping on and leaping off it all the time. And I watched the gravel races at Roc d'Azur, and they're really, they were fit guys, like road riders. Flying, absolutely flying. But there was no getting on and getting off. It was all tracks. So I bought a larger frame. Jono, my nephew, he recommended what size to get, and we couldn't get the 56, which is what he recommended, because they don't make that. They make a 55 or a 57. So I got a 57 frame. And it's so rigid. It's really, really nice. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. But I went out on the mountain bike today because I'm racing the mountain bike. So I went out on the mountain bike today, and I need to get out on the mountain bike more because I need to get used to it before I race on the 26th. So I went out on that, and it was good. It was good fun, but it made my legs hurt. Hence, I might have my training wheels on, Kevin. Yeah, it might help actually. It'd be very good to have some training wheels that were motorised in some way. If that could be done subtly, that didn't. And no one noticed that I had motorised training wheels. That would be most useful. So yeah, could do. We will see. All right, guys. Well, look, I wanted just to check in and let you know what was going on, and let you know that today we have progressed or regressed to the mountain bike from the gravel bike. Do I use graphite for lube, or what is recommended? You know what, Mark? So many different. Billy's got a Mac bike. Yeah, he would have, wouldn't he? So many different thoughts on lubrication, and we always used to use like silicone lube because it's like a dry lube, so stuff doesn't stick to it, and it does work. I've used a bit of, what have I used? On the thick through axles that go through the hub, I put some, I think it is graphite grease, just very light bit of graphite grease on there. And the group set and the chain and everything else, I've got silicone lube on, which I've always used that, and it's always served me very, very well. It's a bit more noisy because it's kind of a dry lube, but graphite, if you can get graphite powder, which is available. My dad always used to use graphite powder in locks, door locks. It is potentially the best, isn't it? I mean, if you get graphite between your fingers and rub it, powdered graphite, it's slippery. It's fantastic stuff. We used to use a product in the motorbikes called, I can't think what it's called now. That was that like Slick 50, anything with moly in, exactly, Evo. It was a moly thing. It was a moly thing, and it, like Slick 50 and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't that, but it was something else. It was an English product, and we used to put it in the motorbikes. Never see something. Yeah, I mean, so many in there. The thing is, Mark, ultimately, that thing gets taken apart. I mean, it's probably been apart 15 times in the last couple of weeks. It doesn't really matter. You're not sort of leaving it for any period of time. It's coming apart. It's going back together. You're cleaning it, wiping it off. I think you've got to be a lot more careful if you, like with the motorbike. Some parts of the motorbike you're not getting into so much, so you need to be much more cautious about how you lubricate. But with the bicycle, because you can get at everything so easily, it's very easy to keep on top of it all, and you use WD-40 basically. It doesn't really matter when you're taking it apart all the time. I mean, graphite's great if you can, and like you said, anything with moly in it. We had this thing, I can't remember what it's called now for the life of me, but it was a product. You used to buy it in the UK. We used to put it in the crankcases on the motorbikes, and you could literally run the motorbike with no crankcase oil in it, and it didn't make any difference. The surfaces were coated with this like nano, whatever it was, nano moly, whatever. Too scientific for me. It didn't make any difference. We ran one for a week, I think, with no oil in it. It didn't make any difference. Nothing wore, took it to bits, it's just exactly the same. It could have been, I can't remember what it was, Evo. I can't remember. You could give me the name of it, STP. It wasn't STP. It wasn't STP. You could give me the name of it, I wouldn't remember what it was. It was some obscure thing. It was like a guy, some like a scientist guy. And I went to, I think it was the motorbike show or something like that in London, and this guy was tucked away right up the back of the show with his stuff, and he had something, I can't remember exactly, but he had two things spinning, and you could bring a lever down to apply pressure to this, the thing that was spinning, and one of them you could stop. You could pull down on the lever and you could break the rotation and you could stop it. And the other thing, he put like a drop of his... Yeah, it is like Slick 50. It's like that, but it's much more... It could be, Evo. I mean, it might be that. It could be. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things now, isn't there? It's all moved on now. I mean, I'm talking, 10 years ago. I am talking 10 years ago. I'm talking 11 years ago. All this nano stuff now, I mean, it's just changed. Everything's changed, isn't it? But then, this was like... They used to sell it on QVC. Did they really? I don't know. Never watched QVC. But anyway, yeah. One thing you could stop, and the other thing you put a few drops of it on the wheel, and you pulled down. It didn't matter. I mean, you could like hang on it. It didn't make any difference at all. It formed a film, and you couldn't create any friction. Yeah, we were buying in very big bottles. It might have been in very big blue bowls with yellow caps, because we were running like 10 motorbikes, so we had it in all the bikes, and because the KTM's in 2007 they stopped the KTM engine, the RFS engine, which was the best engine they ever made, and they developed that engine over so many years. And in 2007, they stopped making it, and they went over to the new engine. And I bought the bikes with the new engine because it's the new model, and you think you're doing the right thing. And they were poor. Let's use that word. They were poor, and ultimately they revised all the internals. So I ended up with 2008 outer crankcase and main parts, but everything inside was 2010. Yeah, that's the word. Because there is a fantastic website, American website called KTM Cycle Hut, and it is just amazing. The guy that runs that is just a great guy, and you go on there. If you got KTM, you're not going to go on there if you haven't. He brings all the revision parts. So if there's a new part for that part that you want, he's got it there. He shows it as a new part, so you can see what's been updated and what's revised, and then you can order those new things. So you can basically change all the internals of the bike to the 2010 spec. And that's what we did. So over a period of time, we changed the 2008s up to the 2010 spec, and then they were fine. But the problem was that a seal right in the middle of the engine would go, and it would allow the engine, the motor oil, to mix with the crankcase oil. Now in the RFS engine, there was only one huge deposit of oil. Yeah, you've got it, Dickard. There was only one huge reserve of oil. So the oil would get very dirty very quickly, and that's why in most competition motorbikes you have to keep changing the oil and the filters all the time. But the idea with the KTM was that they separated the oil, so the gearbox oil didn't get contaminated by the engine oil, and the gearbox oil would stay clean for a much longer time, and all you had to do was change the engine oil. And they had a smaller amount of engine oil than they had gearbox oil, sorry. But when this seal went, it all just transferred over, and you ended up with too much oil in one side and not enough oil in the other. And because of that, for insurance, because we were riding out through the desert in Morocco on these bikes, I bought this product and put it through everything so that ultimately it would run without any oil in at all. So it's a very long story about a very simple subject, but yeah, that's what it boils down to. A solution to something, a workaround for something that KTM created by designing an engine that didn't work. And I subsequently found out because Juha Salminen, who was the KTM 25 times world enduro champion, KTM rider, obviously you run ZX1 in your saws, Evo, and does it make any difference? Do they run? Is it noticeable? Less friction in the engine? He obviously had to ride the new bike because it was the new bike, and so he had to ride it. And they just drilled holes through, so they made like transfer ports inside the engine, so the oil could just mix like it was in the RFS engine. So it completely defeated the whole thing. Never wear, yeah. I think you're right. I think you're right. Yeah. I don't know why it's not used more. I mean, some of these oils. Is it Castrol something? Snake oil. That's what you put on your boots, isn't it? Snake oil. Gun oil. There was a guy who used to write, I think he was American, he might have been Canadian. A guy used to write stories about like off-road motorcycling. His name was Ed Hertfelder. And he wrote a book called The Duct Tapes. Like duct tape, but it was called The Duct Tapes. If you can ever get that book, that's so fun. The stories in that book are so funny. He had a Canadian motorbike called a Hodaka. Hodaka, Hodaka, Canadian off-road motorbike, and he used to go off into the wilderness on this bike, and like things that happened to him, bears and God knows what happened to him. It's, the stories, it must be available online, you must be able to find it online. The Duct Tapes, D-U-C-T. The duct tapes. Such a funny book. I read that when I was a kid, and it inspired me. You know, he like get into the worst situations, get himself out of it somehow, just somehow overcome the situation he was in. And he ended up, they were two strokes, those Hodakas were two strokes, everything was two stroke, wasn't it? And he ended up running it on gun oil because he came across a hunter. He ran out of fuel, you know, and someone had a bit of petrol somewhere. Yeah, exactly, dickhead, yeah. I don't know why they call it duct tape, because it's exactly that, isn't it? It does everything apart from what it's supposed to do. Yeah, he ran out of petrol somewhere and he was like millions of miles from anywhere. And he got some fuel off someone, and he was like riding it neat for a little while, just praying. And then he came across someone hunting, and the guy got some gun oil for cleaning his rifle, and so he put that in it, and he ran it on this premix of gun oil and fuel, and got out somehow. Got out of wherever he was, like the tundra or somewhere. But yeah, if you find that, it's classic stuff. Really funny. It's old-fashioned now, isn't it? But it was a good book. The dirt squirt, the road toad, the combat wombat. Yeah, it's about right, Joe. Absolutely. Anyway, look, guys, it's a pleasure. It's been a pleasure talking to you all. Thanks very much for coming in and joining. I came online because my legs are hurting so much I can't walk. But I'm hoping now I'll be able to go down the stairs. So I'll upload the ride from today on the mountain bike. Bye, Evo. See you later. See you later, Kevin. Good luck with the corn, Kevin. Good night, PB. Take care. And I'll do 3 20-minute videos or 20 whatever. Thanks, David. Good to see you. Take care, buddy. And they'll be up, you know, tomorrow morning or whatever. I don't know what, you know. You know, it'd be tomorrow or whenever your day is happening. Our day is finishing here, but I know yours has still got some time to go. Cheers, Mark. Thanks very much for coming in. Nice to speak to you. Cheers, Dickard. Nice to see you, buddy. Take care. Keep warm. Keep the fire burning. All right, guys. Cheers, Carl. Nice to see you. How's the cycling going, Carl? Have you been out at all? Been out anymore? And I will upload this stuff and then slowly, yeah, like your style. Take it steady, buddy. Enjoy it. Enjoy the autumn colours, that's what it's all about. We haven't got the same kind of autumn colours here, but it's been a beautiful week. Just so beautiful, so clear. It's been really, really nice. All right, guys, I'm going to finish and I will upload this other stuff for you. So speak to you all soon. Thanks very much for coming in. Bye now.